My Govanen. Join us for a while as we try our hand at our first countdown. Depending on how it goes, we may do more, but for now I wanted to focus on movie soundtracks, movie scores to be specific, as composed by talented musicians whose work adds so much to the movies we love. This is Kalablade the Geek's Top 10 Favorite Movie Scores. Right now, at least. In truth, narrowing it down to only 10 for me was tough. As I've gathered so many personal favorites over the years, ever since I was younger than my own son listening to movie soundtracks on tapes. So that's why, depending on my current mood and or period in my life, these entries are subject to change. But for whatever reason, these top 10 are the ones that resonate with me the most right now, plus 10 honorable mentions. Now, without further ado, begin the countdown! This was a movie I saw when I was around 9, if I remember correctly. And the music always stuck with me as I grew up. Arnold's score goes big, with its grandiose themes as suitably epic as its visual counterpart, a sci-fi adventure to the ears alone. Well loved by soundtrack buffs, its main theme also recognizable to fans who fell in love with the television series Stargate SG-1. But it's the original film version of Stargate that holds a special place in my film geeky heart. How sentimental. Now here's a movie I feel is underappreciated by some, although I do know quite a few fans still. Sleepy Hollow, a horror film directed by Tim Burton and starring Johnny Depp as a reimagined version of Ichabod Crane. Soundtrack and all, it's a movie that I think might be Tim Burton at his best, although others might say Ed Wood, which I still need to see. So.
Shame.
But anyways, the score! Yes, this score is Frandamtastic. Definitely Danny Elfman at his most Danny Elfmanist. Its grim and gothic exuberance recalls the fun of the film's Hammer horror inspirations, but also soars to haunting and even enchanting heights before the horror thunderously returns. If you're a fan of Danny Elfman, you've probably already heard this score and formed your own opinion. This is mine. To anyone who owns a recent-ish Disney DVD or Blu-ray, you've probably heard the main theme from this particular entry. A swift and adventurous tune composed by the late Michael Kamen.
Robin Hood!
Yep, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a cheesy romp from the early 90s, love it or hate it. This movie really propelled my early interest in medieval times, historical accuracy, and accent accuracy be damned. I love it, but nostalgia. As for the music, I think it speaks for itself. Not only the main theme and its variations, but the accompanying score throughout lend a lot to this one, without which I think more of the movie's flaws would show.
Now sew. And keep the stitches small.
This score is as dark and gothic as they come, in my opinion. But it's also at times hauntingly beautiful. It's both of those things. A melodramatic story of evil versus good, yes, but also eternal romance. Already a classically trained musician, the use of the late composer Wojciech Kilar's talents toward this film is applauded to this day by both classical music fans and film score buffs alike. And I join them. Though I enjoy Coppola's adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, this is one of those cases in which I feel a score might surpass even the film that it's set to. As a longtime Star Trek fan, I was among the careful skeptics leading up to J.J. Abrams' 2008 reboot, but I wound up enjoying that one a lot, as many people did, but I could do an entirely different video about that. The music is what we're here for today, and this score, composed by longtime Abrams collaborator Michael Giacchino, does not disappoint. From the reworking of the series' original theme to its own adventurous theme, which just builds and builds and builds. When this film came out, I was working as a movie theater usher, cleaning the auditorium after each showing, and we'd have to listen to the end credits music several times a day. Never got sick of hearing this. It passed the test. Some ending credit music gets very old. Very fast. But not Giacchino's Star Trek score. I think even the film's naysayers would agree this is some stellar music. Blasting its way into cinemas in 1980, The Empire Strikes Back is much like its score, once again composed by the great John Williams. It ups the ante in every way, building on what came before, while also taking us to new and often terrifying places. A darker composition than its predecessor, like the film itself. It was a tough call for me, actually. Which of Williams' now 8 completed film scores to choose from, as each and every one of them, yes, even the prequels, has some great examples. But at the end, I had to go with the score to my favorite Star Wars film. Original choice, right? But seriously, it contains all of the founding themes in one way or another while introducing new ones, and need I say more than this? It has the Imperial March! I love Tron, but I admit I came to the fandom late. Only finally seeing the original 80s film after the first test footage for Tron Legacy was released. But Tron Legacy's soundtrack is the one that stood out to me. Upon seeing this sequel when it hit theaters, I was instantly hooked on the work of Thomas Bangalter and Guy-Manuel de Homem Christo. I hope I didn't butcher that. The duo, better known as Daft Punk. This soundtrack is one of my most favorite compositions in any movie, and is in my opinion a masterpiece fusion of symphonic and electronic music. I could listen to this on any day and never really grow tired of it. Like Dracula and our next entry, Tron Legacy is another case where the score arguably surpasses the film.
End of line.
What is best in life?
Huh?
What is best in life?
A walk under the stars. Kittens in your face. Pizza on your plate.
Wrong! What is best in life?
D&D and comics. Trek and Wars. And the awesome Conan the Barbarian soundtrack.
That is good.
Widely regarded as a true masterpiece of cinematic scoring, this is the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack. Composed by Basil Poledouris for John Milius's 1983 film version, which was inspired, fairly loosely, by the original Robert E. Howard pulp novels. There is no soundtrack that stirs my spirit quite like this one. It has enthralled me for the past 17 years now. 17 years?! And I can honestly say, for as many times as I've watched and rewatched Conan the Barbarian, a favorite movie of mine, I've listened to this soundtrack many, many times more. It's been a mainstay for me, used as background music in nearly every D&D campaign that I can force it into. It was a predicament of the highest honor for me to even place this work of majesty at number 2 and not the number 1 spot. This sweeping piece of musical storytelling enriches the world of the film, and I think without that, the movie would lose a lot of its power. Even now, listening to it brings tears to my eyes. He is Conan, Cimmerian. He does not cry. So I cry for him. The Return of the King's music, to my ears, reaches sweeping heights. I know I use that word a lot, but truly, this soundtrack reaches sweeping heights, building from the many themes that composer Howard Shore has established already in The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. But as The War of the Ring neared its peak in Peter Jackson's epic film adaptation of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, new musical motifs are introduced as the story ascends to its climax. The score featured music ranging from the darkest in all of the trilogy to spirit-soaring themes such as when Gandalf and Pippin arrive at Gondor, a personal favorite of mine. The emotion I was feeling in the theater when I was watching it was tangible. I could feel it in the water. I could feel it in the earth. I could smell it in the air. This trilogy came out right at a time when I was going through the motions of angry 14-year-old teenage angst. Among other things, a tough time. These movies not only wowed me, exceeding my expectations and imagination of Middle-earth, but also capturing the spirit of my favorite book, indeed, and providing a much-needed bit of escapism. Without Howard Shore's music, this world would have been sorely lacking, and The Return of the King is the high point, in my opinion, of this achievement. These are my favorite movies of all time. Wait, even more than Star Wars? Well, yeah, because while I grew up watching a VHS tape with the original trilogy recorded on it over and over again since before I can remember, the experience of being part of a moment as groundbreaking as the world's first introduction to Star Wars was something I'd never had until the day after Xmas 2001. When the lights in the theater dimmed, and we were all treated to something unlike anything we'd ever seen in a movie before. Kinda like you guys back in '77. But Star Wars changed your life too, right?
No, precious. We hate Star Wars. We hate it.
And that, everyone, is my top 10 favorite movie scores right now. I hope you were entertained.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Arnold's score goes big, with grandiose visuals. Arnold's score goes big. Arnold's score. This thing sucks! Oops! I can't get to shoot a f***ing arrow. I shot an arrow! Arnold's score goes big with... Duck. We're done. We got it. It's done. Cut.